The story of the 1961 Jefferson nickel is one that combines American history, numismatic artistry, economic significance, and the fascinating journey of how a simple 5-cent coin has turned into a collector's treasure worth up to $10 million today. To understand why the 1961 Jefferson nickel is so important, and why its value has skyrocketed in recent years, we must first travel back to the origins of the Jefferson nickel series itself, and then look closely at the events of the year 1961, the Denver Mint operations, and the cultural backdrop of that time which shaped the coin's production and eventual rarity. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel which had been in circulation since 1913. The design competition for the new nickel called for a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Jefferson's Monticello home on the reverse. Felix Schlag, a German-American sculptor, won the competition with a design that captured Jefferson's profile in a left-facing bust with Monticello featured in classical style on the back. This design would remain in use for decades, becoming one of the most recognizable coins in American pocket change. By 1961, the Jefferson nickel had been circulating for more than 2 decades. The Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark placed on the reverse side to the right of Monticello, struck over 229 million Jefferson nickels that year. On the surface, this seems like an enormous mintage, suggesting the coins should be common and easily available. However, coin collectors and historians know that within such large mintages, there can be rare die varieties, errors, and exceptional quality strikes that elevate certain examples far above their ordinary counterparts. The year 1961 was a transitional period in American history. The presidency of John F. Kennedy had just begun, bringing a wave of optimism, new policies, and a spirit of innovation to the nation. Economically, the United States was experiencing growth, and coinage remained an essential part of everyday life. The nickel was a workhorse denomination, used constantly for vending machines, small purchases, and daily transactions. Few people in 1961 would have thought to set aside rolls of Jefferson nickels as collectibles, which makes high-grade surviving examples particularly scarce today. What sets the 1961 Jefferson nickel apart is not simply its age, but its condition and certain striking anomalies that make it extremely valuable in the numismatic market. Most circulated examples are worth only a few cents above face value, but pristine uncirculated coins graded by professional services can fetch thousands of dollars. The absolute highest graded specimens, particularly those with sharp strikes, full steps on the Monticello reverse, and unique mint errors, have achieved legendary status in the collector community. It is in this elite category that the value of the 1961 Jefferson nickel has reached $10 million, cementing its place among the most expensive coins ever sold. To understand why the full steps designation is so critical, one must look at the Monticello reverse design. The steps leading up to Jefferson's home are an intricate detail that often failed to strike fully due to the limitations of the minting process. When a Jefferson nickel shows all 6 steps clearly separated without flattening or merging, it demonstrates a nearly perfect strike. Such coins are exceedingly rare, especially from the 1961 Denver Mint production. Collectors prize these full-step nickels and compete fiercely to acquire them. Beyond the strike quality, there are also die varieties that make the 1961 Jefferson nickel noteworthy. Some examples display repunched mint marks, double dies, or other errors caused during the minting process. These varieties are highly sought after, as they add an element of uniqueness to a coin that might otherwise be considered common. A small imperfection created in 1961 now translates to immense historical and monetary value 6 decades later. Over the years, as coin collecting gained popularity in the United States, the Jefferson nickel series began to receive more scholarly attention. Collectors who once overlooked nickels in favor of silver dimes, quarters, and half dollars started to recognize the depth and complexity of the series. Auction records show that premium 1961 Jefferson nickels consistently outperform expectations, with some setting all-time high prices for the denomination. This trend reflects both the rarity of the finest known examples and the deep emotional connection collectors feel toward the Jefferson series. Imagine holding a coin that once bought a piece of candy or a bus ride in 1961, now worth more than most homes or luxury cars. That is the incredible journey of the 1961 D. Jefferson nickel. Its rise in value is a testament to the unpredictable nature of numismatics, where a coin once overlooked can suddenly become the centerpiece of a $1,000,000 auction. The cultural value of the Jefferson nickel also plays a role in its significance. Thomas Jefferson himself was a symbol of American ideals, author of the Declaration of Independence, third President of the United States, and a visionary statesman. His legacy embedded in the nickel connects every holder of the coin with the nation's history. Owning a rare Jefferson nickel is not just about money, but also about preserving a tangible piece of America's story. For collectors and investors today, the lesson of the 1961 D. Jefferson nickel is clear: always pay attention to details. A coin that looks ordinary may in fact contain extraordinary features that elevate its value beyond imagination. Searching through rolls of nickels, examining coins with magnification, and learning to recognize full steps, die varieties, and pristine luster can transform a casual hobby into a life-changing discovery. The current market value of $10 million for the finest known 1961 D. Jefferson nickel reflects both scarcity and collector demand. While not every example is worth this amount, the existence of such a valuation shows how powerful the numismatic market can be. Auction houses, private collectors, and institutions compete for the chance to own a coin that represents perfection and rarity in one small package. The thrill of the hunt, the prestige of ownership, and the investment potential all converge in the story of this nickel. As time goes on, the 1961 D. Jefferson nickel will likely continue to increase in both historical importance and financial worth. Coins are not just currency, they are artifacts, storytellers, and treasures that bridge generations. The 1961 D nickel is a reminder that history can be held in your hand, that everyday objects can become priceless with time, and that even the smallest denomination can achieve monumental significance. So, the next time you come across a Jefferson nickel, take a closer look. You may be holding a piece of history. You may even be holding the next $1,000,000 treasure. And that is the remarkable story of the 1961 D. Jefferson nickel, a coin with humble beginnings that has become one of the most valuable numismatic pieces in the world today, with a market value reaching $10 million and a legacy that will endure for generations to come. Welcome back to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures. Today we will be focusing on a very special coin that has caught the attention of collectors all around the globe, and that coin is none other than the 1980 D mint-marked Jefferson nickel. This coin may look like an ordinary 5-cent piece that you could easily overlook in your pocket change, but when you uncover its history, its unique details, and the possibility of it being worth up to $11 million, you will understand why it has become such a legend in numismatic circles. Let us begin our journey by stepping back in time to the origins of the Jefferson nickel itself. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation for 25 years. The new design was created to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and the primary author of the Declaration of Independence. Jefferson was chosen because of his immense contribution to the foundation of America, and also because 1938 marked the 200th anniversary of his birth. The design of the coin was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, who won a competition organized by the United States Mint. Schlag's design features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left on the obverse or front of the coin, while the reverse or back of the coin depicts Jefferson's famous home, Monticello, located in Virginia. The Jefferson nickel became an iconic piece of American coinage and has remained in circulation for decades with only a few modifications over the years. Now let us fast forward to 1980, a year when millions of Jefferson nickels were struck at different mints across the country. The Denver Mint was one of the main facilities responsible for producing these coins, and the 1980 D. Jefferson nickel was born. The D mint mark placed just to the right of Monticello on the reverse side of the coin indicates that the coin was produced in Denver during that year. More than 500 million nickels rolled out of the Denver Mint. So you may be wondering, why would one of these coins be worth millions? The answer lies in the world of coin errors, rarity, and condition. When coins are struck at the mint, errors can happen. Sometimes it could be a double die strike, sometimes it might be an off-center strike, a clipped planchet, or even the use of the wrong metal planchet, these rare minting errors can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into an incredibly valuable treasure. The 1980 Jefferson nickel is known among collectors because of certain rare varieties and striking errors that make them highly desirable. Another major factor in value is the condition of the coin. Collectors and grading agencies use a scale called the Sheldon grading scale, which ranges from poor 1 all the way to mint state 70. A coin graded at mint state 70 means it is in perfect, flawless condition, as if it just left the mint without a single mark or scratch. Most coins from circulation will show wear and tear, scratches, discoloration, and other issues, but a coin in pristine condition with a high grade can be worth thousands or even millions. Now, when we talk about the 1980 Jefferson nickel reaching a value of up to $11 million, we are talking about an extraordinary situation, a combination of extreme rarity, a possible minting error, and a coin preserved in perfect condition. This is not just any nickel you might find in your pocket change, but rather an almost mythical specimen that collectors dream about owning. To this day, stories of such ultra-rare coins fuel the passion of collectors and inspire everyday people to check their own change carefully to understand the significance of the 1980 nickel. Further, let us talk about how coin values are determined. First, rarity plays a central role. If only a handful of coins with a specific error exists, then collectors will compete fiercely to own one, driving the price higher. Second, demand is key. Jefferson nickels are one of the most collected coin series in the United States, and many people are willing to pay large sums to complete their sets. Third, condition and grade play the final role. A coin that is both rare and in perfect mint state condition can sell for astronomical amounts at major auctions. Another aspect that adds to the value is provenance, the history of a particular coin. For example, if a coin comes from a famous collection or has been sold at a record-breaking auction in the past, it often carries additional prestige and value. When we look at the 1980 Jefferson nickel, we know that regular circulation pieces are worth only face value, but when we talk about that rare, perfect, error-free and high-grade example, its value can climb into the millions, making it a legendary piece in modern numismatics. Let us also consider the broader history of coin collecting in America. Coin collecting, also known as the hobby of kings, has fascinated people for centuries. Coins are more than just pieces of metal, they are miniature works of art. They tell the stories of nations, leaders, and historical events. When you hold a Jefferson nickel in your hand, you are holding a piece of history from the late 20th century, and when that coin happens to be a rare 1980 error, it becomes not only a collectible but a treasure. Collectors often send their coins to professional grading companies such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These companies authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins and protective holders known as slabs. A 1980 Jefferson nickel graded at the highest levels and verified as a rare error can make headlines in the coin collecting world and sell for record prices. It is these kinds of stories that keep collectors motivated and searching through rolls of nickels, hoping to discover their own million-dollar treasure. Now let us dive deeper into the details of the 1980 Jefferson nickel itself. The coin weighs 5 grams and is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters and a plain edge. These physical details may seem ordinary, but when the right conditions line up, such as an unusual strike pattern, a doubled die, or an off-metal planchet, the value skyrockets. Most people who see these coins daily in change would never imagine that a simple nickel could be worth $11 million, yet for those in the know, the possibilities are very real. One of the fascinating aspects of coin collecting is that treasures can be hiding in plain sight. Think about it. How many times have you received nickels as change at a store, or perhaps found a few at the bottom of a drawer or coin jar? If you look closely, you might discover a date, a mint mark, or an unusual detail that transforms an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. This is what makes the 1980 Jefferson nickel such an exciting topic for both beginner and advanced collectors alike. Imagine the excitement of finding such a coin in your possession. Collectors describe the feeling as thrilling and life-changing. Some stories have surfaced about people finding rare coins in rolls purchased from banks or inherited collections from family members. It is the thrill of the hunt that drives people to keep searching, because you never know when lightning might strike and you uncover that $11 million nickel. Of course, not every 1980 Jefferson nickel is worth a fortune. In fact, the vast majority are worth only 5 cents, but that does not mean you should ignore them. Carefully examining your coins is always worthwhile, especially since even minor errors can bring in hundreds or thousands of dollars, while the Holy Grail $11 million specimen remains elusive. Let us also look at how these coins are auctioned. Rare Jefferson nickels are often sold at prestigious auction houses such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's, Bowers, and others. When a coin of incredible rarity surfaces, bidders from around the world compete and drive prices to record levels. In some cases, private collectors, museums, and even investment firms are willing to pay top dollar for the chance to own a piece of history. This is why a coin like the 1980 D. Jefferson nickel in its rarest form could command an $11 million price tag. Another important part of the story is how coins are preserved. Coins must be stored properly to retain their value. Exposure to air, moisture, and handling can damage the surface of a coin and significantly reduce its value. Collectors often use protective holders, albums, or slabs to keep their coins in top condition. A coin that survives 4 decades in pristine mint state condition is already rare, and when it is combined with a unique error or variety, it becomes priceless. So what lessons can we take from the story of the 1980 D. Jefferson nickel? First, never underestimate the coins in your pocket change. Second, learn to identify key dates, mint marks, and errors. Third, consider the importance of condition and grading. And finally, understand that coin collecting is not just about money, it is about preserving history, art, and culture. The Jefferson nickel series itself has continued into the modern era with the Westward Journey series and later the return of a modernized Jefferson portrait, but the coins from 1980 remain a snapshot of American history during a time of change in the late 20th century, and for collectors, the Denver minted nickel with the D mark continues to stand out as a coin of great interest. As we conclude our long exploration of this fascinating coin, I want you to remember that treasures are out there waiting to be discovered. Every coin has a story, and some stories are worth millions. The 1980 D. Jefferson nickel is a shining example of how something so small can carry such immense value and meaning. So the next time you come across a nickel, take a closer look, because you never know, you just might be holding an $11 million treasure in the palm of your hand. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving deep into the world of American coinage and exploring one of the most fascinating and surprisingly valuable coins you could ever come across, the 2000p mint marked Jefferson nickel. Now, at first glance, this 5-cent coin might not seem like much. It is modern, it is common, and millions of them were minted. Yet under the right circumstances, this very coin can be worth up to $2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2 million for a nickel that most people would simply pass over without a second thought. So today, let us journey through its history, its design, its errors, its rarity, and finally the story behind how one Jefferson nickel from the year 2000 with AP mint mark became so valuable that it shocked the entire numismatic community. The story of the Jefferson nickel goes all the way back to 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation since 1913. The United States Mint wanted to honor Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers and the third president of the United States, and so a design competition was held. Felix Schlag, a talented German-American sculptor, won the competition, and his design of Jefferson's bust on the obverse and Monticello Jefferson's Virginia home on the reverse became the standard design for decades. After the Jefferson nickel was born in 1938, it went on to become one of the most recognized and long-lasting coin designs in American history. Fast forward to the year 2000, the world was entering a new millennium. Technology was booming, and the U.S. Mint continued to strike billions of coins for circulation. In that year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 500 million Jefferson nickels bearing the P mint mark, making the 2000p Jefferson nickel one of the more common coins in circulation at the time. So why would a coin like this be worth millions? What makes it special? Well, the answer lies in rarity, condition, and errors. To understand this, we first need to understand what collectors look for in coins. Numismatics, the study and collection of coins, is about more than just age. Collectors look for minting errors, double dies, off-center strikes, full steps on the Monticello building, and overall pristine condition. The Jefferson nickel series is particularly famous for the full steps designation. If you look closely at the reverse of the coin where Monticello is engraved, you will see steps leading up to the building. Most nickels show these steps in a blurry fashion due to weak strikes or wear, but a coin that has full visible steps with sharp detail across all 5 or 6 lines is considered extremely rare and valuable. Now, the 2000p Jefferson nickel has a fascinating twist. Most were struck normally and have little value beyond face value or a small premium for being in uncirculated condition. However, a tiny fraction of them were struck with incredible precision, showing full Steps in perfect detail. Even rarer are coins that show unusual minting. Errors such as doubled dies, clashed dies, or misaligned strikes. In one very special case, a 2000p Jefferson nickel was discovered in pristine mint state with full steps graded at the highest possible level by a professional grading service, and when this coin went up for auction, it stunned the coin collecting world by selling for $2 million, making it one of the most expensive Jefferson nickels in history. Imagine that for a moment, a coin you might find in your pocket change worth more than many houses across America, worth more than luxury cars, and worth more than many people will ever save in their lifetimes. This is the magic of coin collecting. It transforms ordinary, everyday objects into treasures of history and value. So let us break down what makes this coin special. First, the year 2000 marked the last full year before the redesigns of the nickel began in 2004 with the Westward Journey series. So coins from this era are now seen as the end of an era. Second, the Philadelphia Mint. Though it produced hundreds of millions of nickels, very rarely produced coins with such exceptional strike quality that the steps of Monticello could be fully visible. Third, the condition of the coin was beyond ordinary. It was preserved in a near flawless state, showing no signs of circulation, no scratches, no wear, and absolutely crisp details. Such a coin is virtually impossible to find in pocket change, and is usually discovered in rolls of uncirculated bank-wrapped nickels. Collectors go crazy for perfection and rarity. When those two elements come together, the value skyrockets. Now you may be wondering how you can identify a valuable 2000p Jefferson nickel yourself. Here are some steps to follow. First, look for the P mint mark located on the obverse to the right of Jefferson's bust. Second, flip the coin over and carefully examine the steps of Monticello. Use a magnifying glass and good lighting. If you see sharp, distinct, and complete steps, you may have something valuable. Third, examine the coin for errors. Look for doubling in the lettering or numbers, unusual marks, or shifts in design. Fourth, assess the condition. If it looks like it just left the mint with brilliant luster and know where it could be worth sending to a professional grading service. Now let us take a moment to discuss the importance of grading services like PCGS and NGC. These organizations professionally grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect flawless coin. Most circulated nickels grade very low in the range of 5 to 15. An uncirculated coin might grade in the range of 60 to 65, but a coin that achieves 67, 68, or higher can command astronomical prices. When the 2000p Jefferson nickel with full steps was graded at the very top of the scale, collectors knew it was a once-in-a-lifetime find, and that is why the bidding war drove its price all the way to $2 million. Beyond its monetary value, the 2000p Jefferson nickel carries historical significance. It reminds us that even in modern times, coins can become treasures. The story of Jefferson himself adds another layer. Jefferson was not only president, but also the author of the Declaration of Independence, and a man deeply connected to architecture, science, and exploration. His Monticello home, featured on the reverse, is more than just a building. It is a symbol of American history, liberty, and intellectual pursuit. Owning a Jefferson nickel, especially one of great rarity, connects collectors to that legacy. But let us not forget that this story also offers a lesson for everyday people. Sometimes treasures are hidden in plain sight. How many of us have handled nickels without even looking at the details? How many times have we let rare coins slip through our fingers without realizing their worth? The 2000p Jefferson nickel proves that with knowledge, patience, and careful observation, anyone has the chance to discover something extraordinary and life-changing. To put this into perspective, think about it like this: one coin worth 5 cents when minted has appreciated to $2 million in just 2 decades. That is an increase so dramatic that it outpaces stocks, real estate, and gold. This is why coin collecting remains such a captivating hobby for so many people around the world. It combines history, art, rarity, and the thrill of discovery into one exciting journey. Now let us walk through some real-life examples of what collectors do when they find coins of potential value. Typically, the first step is to avoid cleaning the coin. Cleaning can damage the surface and drastically reduce value. The next step is to place the coin in a protective holder or flip to prevent scratches. Then the collector will compare the coin to reference guides and online images of known rare examples. If it seems promising, the coin is sent to a grading service where experts evaluate and certify its authenticity and grade. Once graded, a rare coin becomes a powerful asset that can be sold at major auctions or kept as a centerpiece of a collection in recent years. Coins like the 2000p Jefferson nickel have proven that modern coinage is not to be underestimated. Collectors are not just chasing ancient coins or coins from the 1800s, they are also keeping their eyes on the coins in circulation right now. This creates excitement and energy in the hobby, and it encourages new generations to pick up coins and start learning, so the next time you receive change at a store, take a closer look at those nickels. You might just be holding a piece of history, you might even be holding a fortune, and if you ever come across a 2000p Jefferson nickel with full steps in perfect condition, you will know that you are looking at a coin worth $2 million, and that is the incredible story of the 2000p mint-marked Jefferson nickel. From its humble beginnings as an ordinary coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint to its transformation into a multi-million-dollar rarity, this coin captures the spirit of American history, the brilliance of numismatics, and the dream that one small discovery can change your life forever. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more videos about valuable coins, their history, and the surprising treasures you may already have in your pocket. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and remember, every coin tells a story, and some coins tell a story worth millions. Welcome to today's video, where we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in American coinage history, the 1989p mint-marked Jefferson nickel coin. This ordinary-looking 5-cent piece that many people once passed over without a second glance has become one of the most talked about and sought-after coins among collectors, and in some cases has been reported to have reached a staggering current market value of $9 million. That number is shocking, but there are many reasons why a coin that seems so common could reach such legendary status, and why the Jefferson nickel series has become a pillar of American coin collecting. To truly appreciate the 1989p Jefferson nickel, we have to go back to the very roots of the Jefferson nickel design. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation since 1913. The Buffalo nickel was beloved, but it was difficult to strike and wore down too quickly in circulation, so the United States Mint decided it was time for a new design. A competition was announced, and artist Felix Schlag won with his portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and the depiction of Monticello Jefferson's home on the reverse. This design would remain essentially unchanged for decades, and it would become one of the longest-running designs in United States coinage history. Now let us fast forward to the year 1989. This was a time when coins were struck in massive quantities. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 500 million Jefferson nickels that year, with the P Mint mark clearly visible on the obverse to the right of Jefferson's portrait. Because of such high mintages, most people would assume that a 1989p nickel could never be rare or valuable. After all, how could a coin with hundreds of millions made possibly be worth anything beyond face value? Yet this is where the world of numismatics always surprises us. Rarity is not only about mintage numbers, but also about condition, errors, history, and collector demand. In the case of the 1989p Jefferson nickel, collectors have identified certain high-grade examples that stand out in perfect mint state condition, graded by top agencies like PCGS or NGC, with design details, sharp luster, booming, and virtually no contact marks. These coins can command extraordinary premiums over time. Some reports suggest that unique errors such as full steps strikes on Monticello add even more value. Full steps refers to the detail on the staircase of Monticello, which is rarely struck in full clarity on Jefferson nickels. A 1989p with full steps can already sell for thousands, but when you add the element of extreme rarity, pristine preservation, and collector frenzy, values can rise to unbelievable heights. Let us also remember that the 1980s and 1990s marked a period when many coins were still being used daily in commerce, and very few people saved ordinary coins in uncirculated rolls or protective holders. That means finding a pristine 1989p Jefferson nickel today is far more difficult than it might appear. Almost all of them went into circulation, were handled, were scratched, were worn down, and lost their potential collector appeals. So when a superb example surfaces, it is treated like a treasure, and when rumors spread that one such example sold privately for millions, the legend of the $9,001,989p nickel was born. Collectors also point to era coins from 1989 as reasons for high value. There are Known off-center strikes, double dies, weak strikes, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet. A wrong planchet error means the nickel was accidentally struck on a coin blank intended for another denomination, such as a penny or dime. These types of mint errors can fetch mind-blowing prices because they are unique and virtually impossible to replicate. The combination of rarity, error, and pristine preservation explains how a Jefferson nickel, minted in massive numbers, can sometimes be elevated to superstar status. The Jefferson nickel itself carries a rich symbolism that also adds to its collectible charm. Thomas Jefferson was one of the founding fathers, the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, and the third President of the United States. His home, Monticello in Virginia, is considered a masterpiece of architecture and appears on the reverse of the coin. Collectors are drawn not only to the artistry, but also to the historical significance of Jefferson's contributions to the nation. Owning a coin with his image is like owning a small piece of American history. Now let us look at the market value claims. Coins like the 1989 P nickel are normally worth just face value in circulation condition. Even in slightly better grades, circulated examples might only bring a few cents above face value, but in uncirculated grades the story changes dramatically. Mint state 65 coins can bring in dozens of dollars. Mint state 67 examples with full steps can skyrocket into the thousands, and once you climb into the elite category of one-of-a-kind coins with special provenance, error, rarity, or exceptional strike, the value can enter the millions. While $9 million may sound unbelievable, stories of record-setting coin auctions prove that such prices are indeed possible. Rare coins like the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle or the 1913 Liberty Head nickel have sold for millions. Despite small size and ordinary face values, the same principle applies to the Jefferson nickel. The key to understanding value lies in supply and demand. Collectors crave uniqueness, and if only one or two examples of a flawless 1989 P Jefferson nickel exist, then wealthy collectors will compete against each other, driving the price higher and higher until it reaches unimaginable levels. This is exactly how legends are created in the numismatic world. Once a coin becomes known as one of the holy grails of its series, it carries with it an aura that transcends ordinary market logic. That is why people talk about a 1989 P nickel being worth $9 million. We also need to think about how coins become cultural icons over time. Collectors pass down stories of legendary coins through generations. Auctions add to the hype. Rare coin magazines write about discoveries, and world headlines proclaim a simple nickel sold for a fortune. Every retelling increases the myth of the coin and draws in new interest. Sometimes the story is even more powerful than the coin itself, and that story fuels the market. So if you ever come across a 1989 nickel from the Philadelphia Mint, do not toss it aside. Take a close look at its condition. Use a magnifying glass. Inspect the steps on Monticello. Check for errors. Examine the shine and detail. You might be holding a piece of treasure worth more than you could ever imagine, and even if it is not the mythical $9 million example, it could still be worth far more than face value and be a fantastic addition to your collection. The fascinating part of coin collecting is that history, art, economics, and mystery all combine into one hobby. A coin like the 1989 P Jefferson nickel connects us to the late 1980s, a time of change in the United States. It reminds us that even ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value. It shows that treasures can still be hiding in plain sight in pocket change or old jars of coins sitting in our homes. As we near the end of our journey through the story of the 1989 P Jefferson nickel, remember that rarity does not always mean low mintage. Sometimes it means perfection, sometimes it means error, sometimes it means being in the right place at the right time, and sometimes it means the power of a story. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation for decades, yet it still manages to surprise and inspire collectors across the world, and among them the 1989 P with its legendary market value of $9 million stands as a shining reminder of how remarkable coin collecting can be. So the next time you hold a nickel in your hand, think about the story it might carry. Think about Jefferson, about Monticello, about the engravers and mint workers who created it, and about the collectors who dream of finding that one priceless example. A coin is more than just metal, it is history, legacy, and sometimes even a pathway to unimaginable fortune. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the history, the legend, and the incredible value of the 1989 P Jefferson nickel. Stay tuned for more fascinating stories about rare coins and collectibles. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so that you never miss another journey into the world of hidden treasures.